Today's video is dedicated to Casey McClara. Thank you, Casey. Omnath Locus of Creation versus Yidris Maelstrom Wielder, Yasharn Implaceable Earth, and Gargos Vicious Watcher. A lot of mana there, which we can't necessarily do anything with to start things off. Yeah, I think we'll keep it though. I don't think not having anything to do immediately is a good enough reason to bin that. Mother of Runes coming down on turn 1 for the Yasharn player. And we get into a land. We could go Harrow and get rid of a forest, but I'm not looking to get off to too lightning fast to start. And I don't necessarily want to just throw out our commander and then have it sit there, because we've got nothing else to do with it at the moment. We could generate mana off of Harrow, but we don't actually have anything to do with extra mana. Gargos just playing out a land and tapping out. Yeah, I'm supposed to be in a game with 3 patrons at the moment, and it's a shame because I actually had a decent opening hand, but my computer just stopped registering mouse clicks for some reason, and yeah, I restarted everything and got back into the game and it still wasn't working, so apologies to my opponents for that. Fauna Shaman coming down for Yasharn as well. Alright, well, that's something that we can make use of the extra mana with. Yeah, I think I'll hold up Harrow here, so if we go for a blue mana, and we can go Mana Crypt, and I'll just sacrifice the Stomping Ground with the Harrow, I think. Sakura Tribalkai for the mono green player. Then just cracking that immediately, expecting no one to come in at them. Now then, is the Yasharn player going to go in for some kind of hate bear with the Fauna Shaman to stop us from using our artifacts? Well, they're searching for something, discarding a Shalai, and going for Leonin Arbiter. Players can't search libraries, so definitely the hate bears build of Yasharn. We will search for our library in response. We definitely want rid of Leonin Arbiter because we've got lots of fetches and things like that. Oh, and the, excellent, yeah. That's Magic Online randoms for you. The Yarok has scooped in response to the Leonin Arbiter. The big draws just keep coming. Chroma's Memorial now. Let's, in that case, just go for the Ancient Green Warden. And we'll have to hope that that sticks around because I will grab the Stomping Ground out of the bin next turn. Now Renata called to the hunt. Growing Rites of Itlimoc now, which is going to flip at the end of the turn. Bird of Paradise has come down as well. And then Teferi's Protection for us, I think. Maybe I just set up with the Chroma's Memorial. Yeah, I think we can do that. Let's shock this down. And then we'll go to Chroma's Memorial. And we're going to start swinging in at the Sultai player, I think. They decide to block with the Birds of Paradise, and then tap it and give it protection from green, so that survives. But it does mean that their Mother of Runes is tapped down now, so the green player might want to point removal at that. Luckily, the Chroma's Memorial does give trample. That's not something that comes up very often thanks to the flying and the protection from colours, but yeah, it does give trample, so we get 4 damage through to them either way. Dryad Arbor for the Gargos deck. We don't know if this is Hydras or Fight Tribal yet. Then Emerald Medallion continuing to ramp. Then a Protean Hydra, that suggests that it is Hydra Tribal. X is 2. And then we get another player scooping. Wow. Yeah, and after they make fun of Leonin getting rid of the first scooper as well. Okay, well, let's see if we can actually finish this one off, and we'll try and get one in with the patrons. We will take another Lightning Bolt to the Mana Crypt. Lightning Greaves is okay. Let's drop the Omnath. And that enters. That will draw us a card. Alright, well, that's landfall twice at least. Don't think we really care about it, though. Let's just go for the strip mine here. Oh, and we get the mana from the Ancient Green Warden, don't we? Because it triggers the the landfall twice on Omnath. So let's get rid of the Nykthos. Play the Lightning Greaves. And our opponent scoops. Alright, so welcome to Magic Online. If you're experiencing things like this as well, then be sure to jump onto the Discord, because our players on the Discord don't do this, but unfortunately a lot of randoms on Magic Online do. We have 3 players all decide to jump into a multiplayer game, and all 3 of them scooped before turn 5. So yeah, there we go. Jump into the Discord to get some real games in. Omnath Locus of Creation versus Darien King of Kjeldor, Kenrith the Returned King, and then a couple of partner commanders in Akiri line Slinger and Ishai Ojutai Dragonspeaker. Well, that's actually not too dissimilar a hand to the last one that I had with the patrons before the computer started going all weird. Exploration is one of the cards that we had last time, so along with fetches and Azusa, having a means of playing lands out of the bin is going to be really good, I imagine. We will keep that. We'll just need to hope that we actually get into something to do with all this mana. All of my opponents just getting down tap lands. We have Polar Bear Soup on Darien, King of Kjeldor. Kenrith the Returned King being piloted by Gogo, and then a couple of partner commanders, Akiri and Ishai, being played by Billy Kills. Big thank you to my opponents for supporting the channel monetarily. We will play and crack the Misty Rainforest. And then I don't think it really matters. Let's just go for a Tiger. Play the Exploration. And we'll crack ourselves a Marsh Flats for a Triome of some kind, I imagine. Azoria Signet for Billy Kills, the first artifact of the game. Don't know if they'll be making use of Metalcraft or not. And a Talisman from Kenrith. The mono white player taking themselves into a Sol Ring, followed by Thawing Glaciers, which obviously gets them into a Plains, so they'll have to bounce that at the end of the turn. And we will crack our Marsh Flats and go in for a Triome. Okay, Triad of the Elysian Grove, so we're getting lots of means of making multiple lands a turn. We need to be able to play them out of the bin or off the top of our library though, really. Let's go for a... yeah, we'll go for a Plains, go for Polluted Delta, and then maybe we just attempt to stick our commander. So we'll just throw out our commander and draw a card. Alright, Fierce Guardianship ought to help us. Don't know if I would bother to counter some spot removal though. Might leave that till later on in the game. Arcane Signet from Billy Kills. And then a Swiftfoot Boots as well, down to 3 cards in hand. Fabricate from Gogo. Can search their library for an artifact. And they decided to grab themselves a Font of Mythos, so I'm guessing that this is a group hug deck for Gogo. The fast mana just keeps on coming over there, a Mana Vault this time. I dare say they go into their commander here. Nope, going for Ugin the Ineffable. Alright, I think that is actually worth countering there, because Ugin is going to be tricky to deal with. And then they drop a Plains. They might just go for spot removal here. Yep. Well, that gets us into another land, so I'm actually not all that against that idea. Let's grab ourselves a basic island. And Omnath can go back to the command zone. So taking 2 cards away from them there. Valakut Exploration, alright, that's pretty good as well. So let's go Valakut Exploration. Might get a land off the top with the 3 visits. Throw out a Triome here. Triggering the Valakut Exploration, which triggers on landfall, of course. And there we go, a Valakut. Haven't played a land this turn, so we'll throw out the Valakut, which triggers Valakut Exploration again. And this time, that feels bad, getting rid of Raminap. Yeah, wish we hadn't have gotten rid of Raminap there, but nothing we can really do about it. That's the risk you run. with Valakut Exploration. Don't think there's a means. We do have one card at least that can get Ramunap out of the bin. It's the Bala Ged card, something like that. It's double-sided. One side is land, and one side grabs a permanent as opposed to a card, I think it is. So we might be able to get Ramunap back. Another commander coming in, Ishai, Ojutai Dragonspeaker. That now has haste and hexproof, so it's going to get a lot of plus counters on it. Font of Mythos is just going to make Ishai huge, I think, as people get more and more cards into hand. I'm still waiting to experience a win from a group hug player, assuming that that's what this is. I've said it a million times, but in my experience, group hug players just tend to allow someone else to win really quick. Deciding to untap the Mana Vault, and then Font of Mythos will get them into a couple of additional cards. And they play their Thawing Glaciers again. Oh, and a Smothering Tithe as well. Smothering Tithe going very nicely with Font of Mythos. We get into Splendid Reclamation, which isn't terrible. I'm definitely not going to pay for the Tithe. That gets us into Harrow and a Windswept Heath. So, I think we have to go for Dryad of the Elysian Grove, first of all, because that will switch on Valakut. It will also put a plus counter on Ishai. Then we can throw down Windswept Heath. Triggering the Valakut, I don't mind the idea of going after Billy Kills, because they're probably going to swing in at us with that anyway, just because we're running Omnath. So let's see what we grab off of the Valakut first, before we do anything else. That is an Arid Mesa. We can play Arid Mesa off the top, which is another Lightning Bolt. And then it is Rhythm of the Wild. Giving our stuff haste isn't terrible. Yeah, we can always go Azusa here, can't we? So why don't we, with some blue players at the table, I think I'd actually quite like to go for the Rhythm of the Wild here. So let's cast that off the top as well. And then, we'll go in for Azusa as well, just to set ourselves up for next turn, because I don't want to start cracking fetches and things until we get down our Omnath. So let's just have Azusa come in with a plus counter, deciding to pay into one of the Smothering Tithe triggers. And then I dare say Ishai is definitely going to come in at us, and it is. I think it would have come in at us anyway, like I said, just because we're running Omnath. Question is, how many lightning bolts can we get going next turn? If we got into Amulet of Vigour, that would be really good, because we could go for Splendid Reclamation and get these fetches and untap them all, and that would be a hell of a lot of triggers. Up to 8 treasure tokens over here at the beginning of Gogo's turn. And then they play themselves a Stolen Identity. Comes in as a copy of a target artifact or creature, and they copy their own Font of Mythos. So that is 5 cards at the beginning of each of our turns, including the draw step. I think Azusa is going to be very, very good for us during our next turn, if she survives. Akiri came down from Billy Kills, by the way. Didn't see them cast that. Ancient Tomb coming in from the white player. And they're using their treasure tokens to do something. It is the Immortal Sun. Don't think we have many Planeswalkers in this deck, so not all that worried about this one. It is an Anthem and ramp for them though, as well as some card draw. Then an Expedition map. And then Anointed Procession, so doing a hell of a lot of setting up here. Off of the back of the Smothering Tithe and all the treasure tokens. And they'll get twice as many treasure tokens from each trigger on this now, don't forget, because Anointed Procession cares about all tokens, including treasures. Divine Visitation, yep, speaking of setting up. Does this care about creature tokens? If one or more creature tokens would enter, it turns them into 4/4 angels, so that doesn't work with treasure tokens. It certainly works with their commander, though. Then finishing off their turn with Sword of the Animist. Oh, no, they're not. Throne of the God Pharaoh is what they're finishing off their turn with. This cares about tapped creatures, I think, and I think the angels come in with Vigilance Flying and Vigilance, yeah. So that's funny that the angels actually turn the throne of the God Pharaoh into a bit of a nombo. Just asking Billy Kills in the chat if he thinks that we need to worry about Polar Bear Soup as well, because obviously I don't want to have the big flyer coming in at us if we can help it. Billy Kills is thinking the same thing I'm thinking, so I think we're going to leave each other alone for the foreseeable. Grab ourselves an Ephemerate, a Wood Elves, a land, Consecrated Sphinx, alright. Yeah, this is where lands matter is going to come into play, I think. Let's grab ourselves an Omnath. So Omnath coming into play, that will draw us a card. And we'll have that come in with haste. Thawing Glaciers being bounced in response there, or activated in response. And it's a Cloudstone Curio for us, not doing too well on the land front, unfortunately. Let's see if we can grab one off of the Valakut Exploration. Start pointing lightning bolts at the white player. And what did we get there? A Cavern of Souls, alright, not terrible. If Rhythm of the Wilds goes down, then we can always make use of Cavern of Souls. Yeah, we'll just name Elemental with that. That will add some mana to our mana pool, as well as continue to trigger the Valakut, and we'll continue to point it at the white player. Alright, and this time a Wooded Foothills, so we can make our third land, and that will deal some damage to our opponents. So being really lucky with the Valakut Exploration there, getting some lands off of that. This time it is Beast Within, okay. Might have to go for Swiftfoot Boots with that. So let's make use of this mana. Go after the boots. And if they do decide to go back on their word and come in at us, we can always go for the Swords to Plowshares. Okay, Red Elemental Blast is destroying a target blue permanent. How is this worded? It's when they enter the battlefield, they can enter with either haste or a plus counter. So we could still go for Ephemerate here. And that'll actually reset our Omnath so that we can carry on with the making mana and stuff like that. So let's actually go for Ephemerate here. And I'll bring it in with haste again. We'll draw a card with Omnath. And we draw into Supreme Verdict. The Red Elemental Blast fizzles, and the Beast Within will get rid of the Swiftfoot Boots, I imagine. Now, Billy Kills did agree to thinking that the mono white player is a threat here, but in all fairness to him, that is before we started going off here, so I'm thinking they might change their mind. Do they have counter magic for Swords to Plowshares? Might have to go for Consecrated Sphinx just for the sake of having a flyer in play. So let's crack the Windswept Heath and make a Tundra. Go into Lightning Bolt, the white player again. And we get another landing command tower off the top, which we can play. So let's throw that out. And this will make us some mana. We'll continue to Lightning Bolt Polar Bear. And then it is Worldly Tutor on the top. Not sure if we care about that at the moment. Let's just go for our Consecrated Sphinx. And that can come in with a +1/+1 counter, because I'm not going to swing in with it. And I think we will cast the Worldly Tutor. I think I'll go for the Elemental that I always forget the name of. Let's just play lands from the bin. Let's continue to be on the white player. Alright, so we're at 6 commander. We do go down to this if they manage to get that through to us. Let's go for Worldly Tutor before we lose that. And that can be Ancient Green Warden, I think. Right, so we might have to shuffle the Ancient Green Warden away if we have to crack a fetch or go for Harrow for landfall or anything like that, but the aim at the moment is to not do anything on our opponent's turns. And hopefully this doesn't come in at us, but I think Billy Kills might have changed his mind, which would be fair enough. I wouldn't consider that. Him going back on his word if he does go in at us. Now, if Billy Kills has counter magic, I'm assuming he can cast it now. So I'm going to wait for the Swords to Plowshares on his turn, and he can counter it on his turn and swallow up some more mana. We'll draw some cards first at least, and give the mono white players some more Smothering Tithes. Oh, and we actually get to draw into the into the Ancient Green Warden now, don't we? So we can more liberally shuffle our library if we want to. We're actually going to draw a load more cards off of the Font of Mythos as well, aren't we? Well, there's the Crucible of Worlds as nice backup for the Green Warden as well. I'm just going to continue to draw cards with Consecrated Sphinx just in case we get into another piece of spot removal. Just in case we need it. And there we go, getting into Path to Exile, so I feel alright about being able to get rid of the Ishai at this point. Billy Kills finally being allowed to have a turn. Cracking the Marsh Flats. Then Sunforger. I think this needs to be equipped. Yeah, it needs to be equipped in order for its ability to work. I know much better than to allow a Sunforger to become equipped. Yeah, it's actually 3 to equip that, so if they go for the equipment here, which it looks like they are doing, then we will go for Swords onto that, because if we have to go for Swords onto this, they're going to gain a lot of life. We'll go Swords there, and then they've made a land this turn, so they're not going to be able to equip the Sunforger. Now then, let's see where Billy Kills goes. Wouldn't blame him one bit for swinging in at us here. Well, being true to his word, Billy Kills is swinging in, not at us, but in at Go-Go. Yeah, very admirable. I think, like I said before, I would have absolutely forgiven him for changing his mind and coming in at us there, because we did kind of make a little agreement there before I went crazy, but giving double strike to their commander, so that will get rid of Go-Go. And there we are, 38 points of commander damage. Go-Go goes down. And at the end of the turn, we will get rid of Polar Bear Soup so that they can't do anything crazy with all this mana. They go for an Enlightened Tutor. In response to that, let's crack the Wooded Foothills. Doesn't matter which land we grab here because they're all mountains at the moment. Grab ourselves a basic just in case. And on the top, it's Omnath Locus of Rage with the Valakut Exploration. Don't think we're going to be needing that this game. Crack another fetch here. And we'll just make a plateau. Bolt the white player again. And this time it is Lotus Cobra on top. Another incredible one in Lands Matters. And then being able to make landfall at instant speed is going to be crucial here. Our opponent is going for something, an expedition map. In response, we are not going to allow. We will sacrifice a forest. Alright, an Angel's Grace. You can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game this turn. This is coming from the mono white player, I think. Angel's Grace is, yeah, that's going to save them this turn. Good for them. There's nothing else we can do here. So we're just going to have to point the damage. Billy Kills, I think. The lands come into play. Valakut is going to get pointed at... We'll point 1 at the Beast. And we'll point 1 directly at Billy Kills. Omnath is going to deal 4 damage to each of our opponents, which will reduce the life total here to 1. We are forcing them to untap with the Mana Vault at least, but I don't think mana's much of a concern for them. And the client's starting to bug out here. I don't think all those tokens are helping very much. What have we got now? Omnath Locus of the Royal and our own Smothering Tithe. Yeah, so a great play with the Angel's Grace from the mono white player, giving them an extra turn here. So they will get themselves a couple of tutors in searching for a land and an Enlightened Tutor. They get themselves into a Core Haven. Prevent all damage that will be dealt by a target attacking creature. That won't help them. At the end of our turn, the Valakut is going to deal damage to everyone. Plus we still have our Omnath in play at the moment. They tutored for Ajani's Welcome. So attempting to get themselves into some life here. Like I said, they are going to have to untap the Mana Vault. So hopefully they don't misclick here. Ancient Tomb will kill them as well. And then we'll draw even more cards off of the Sphinx, thanks to the Draw Step and the Immortal Sun. And we get ourselves into the Amulet of Vigour, a really good one, along with Gaia's Cradle. Now let's see if the mono white player can wriggle out from underneath this. Going for a Ajani's Welcome, first of all. We would need to worry about something like an Akroma's Memorial at this point. I think they just get Flying and Vigilance with these. Yeah, so there's no lifelink at least from the Angels, not yet anyway. They're tapping into a big X spell seemingly though. 4 cards in hand. And that is a Martial Coup. That is going to get them into a lot of Angels. It's also going to wipe the board, which means our Ephemerate isn't going to do anything on our next upkeep. Yeah. We'll just have to hope that we don't see a lot of haste from our opponent. We're actually going to gain... Is it whenever any creature enters? Whenever a creature enters, yeah, so they're going to gain 20 life here. And this actually might crash the client. I'm going to click through them one at a time. That looks like way more than 20 actually. Whenever a creature enters under your control, gain 1 life. Oh, it was actually more than 20. Oh, of course, thanks to... Yeah, I forgot all about the Anointed Procession, so it's actually 40 life going to be gained here. Yeah, and it looks like Polar Bear Soup is yielding automatically, so I am going to click through them manually. You have to kind of work your way around Magic Online, unfortunately. If our opponent's got a Akroma's Memorial, or some means of giving everything haste here, then that's us done for, and that'll be a comeback and a half for our opponent. Luckily, we've got Supreme Verdict. Alright, getting down to about 10 triggers here. I think we should be safe to auto-yield at this point. This will be a hell of a comeback from the white player if they manage to get this. And they've got even more for us. Darien King of Kjeldor. Yeah, I mean, back up to their starting life total. I don't know if we're going to be able to take them out here. Might have to get rid of Billy Kills so that we can concentrate our sole efforts on Polar Bear Soup. Yeah, I'm not sure. Doesn't look like we're seeing haste, luckily. 2 cards left in hand. And no tapped creatures either, thankfully. So Throne of the God Pharaoh doesn't help them either. And we managed to make it back round to our turn. Ephemerate doesn't do anything thanks to the board wipe. We draw ourselves, and that's hell of a top deck. Mirari's Wake. I think that should be one of the first things we go for, actually. We've got Smothering Tithe, Omnath, Lotus Cobra, and Omnath. Lotus Cobra is going to be really good as well. I have to think about the order in which we do everything. We've lost our Prismatic Omen in the Dryad of the Elysian Grove as well. So it's 1, 2 mountains, 3 mountains, 4 and 5. So we've still got Valakut online if we can grab mountains. It'd be good if it triggered on every landfall trigger though. Well, we'll go in for Sol Ring anyway. It is Mirari's Wake. Then that can allow us to go for the Supreme Verdict before we go for our commander again. Don't have as many landfall triggers to make now either, as long as Azusa and the Dryad of the Elysian Grove are in the bin. We can make a couple thanks to Exploration at least. Alright, now we've got means of getting mountains with these as well if we want to play them from the bin. So why don't we look at going for our commander again. We'll give Omnath haste, and he will draw us a card. We have 40 cards left in the library. Another ramp spell. I think it would be a good idea to go for Lotus Cobra here. And that can come in with haste as well. Then Amulet of Vigour. And we will play Verdant Catacombs. Trigger Valakut Exploration again. And trigger the Lotus Cobra as well. Make a green mana with the Lotus Cobra. Get ourselves into Akroma's Memorial with the Valakut Exploration. Don't think we'll be using that. So let's crack the Verdant Catacombs and see how many mountains we've got left. Well, there's a Shockland that will come in untapped. We've got a basic mountain, a steam vents, volcanic island, so we've got the blue ones. We've got a Boros one, and it looks like that's about it. So let's go for the stomping ground here. And I'm just going to continue to pile on damage at the white player as much as I can, so that we don't make an enemy of Billy Kills. He was true to his word, so I'm going to be true to the deal as well. We'll make green here. I'm thinking of getting the Rampaging Baloths into play. If we can go Rampaging Baloths and the Splendid Reclamation, that would be really good. So let's play the Rampaging Baloths. And that too can come in with haste. Then let's play ourselves a Splendid Reclamation. Oh geez, and look at all those triggers. Alright, hopefully I don't break the client either. All the lands come in tapped off of the Reclamation, so Amulet of Vigor will untap them. Then Rampaging Baloths will give us a bunch of tokens. They don't have haste, unfortunately, but we can drop Gaia's Cradle and maybe go in for that Akroma's Memorial. They won't get haste from the Rhythm of the Wild, thanks to that triggering on non-tokens. Then Omnath will deal 4 damage to everyone. It'll only do that once, even though there's all these triggers on here. Valakut lets us look at a bunch more cards. Actually, you want to put... When you've got Lotus Cobra and Valakut in play, you want to put the Lotus Cobra triggers on the stack first, so that the Valakut Exploration triggers will resolve first, and you can actually see what mana you want to add with the Lotus Cobra in order to potentially get something off of the enchantment. I think I spot myself a Prismatic Omen there, I do. So that's going to be really good. Potentially Lightning Greaves. We've already got haste in Akroma's Memorial, I think. Wayward Sawtooth is more land drops. Blasphemous Act, don't need that. Strip Mine, it's another land, yeah. I think we just go for a bunch of green and red mana here. And we'll add some blue and white for good measure. Then it was 4 damage to everyone with the Omnath. We'll get a bunch of Rampaging Baloths. They come in as 5/5 beast tokens. Amulet of Vigor is going to untap 8 lands that came in out of the graveyard. And there we go. Right, so let's drop the Gaia's Cradle before we can't do anything else with lands. I think that might be the last land drop that we can make this turn. So we'll just get a few more triggers on the stack. This time getting ourselves into a Mana Crypt. Might as well play that this turn. So let's play the Mana Crypt off of the Valakut. We will go after... Well, let's tap down the Gaia's Cradle for a bunch of green mana. Where is it? Oh, there's the Balaged Recovery that I was talking about. But it is the Prismatic Omen we want to cast as well. That switches on Valakut again, that's why I'm going for that. And then Akroma's Memorial. And I think that should have us here. We've got 45 damage with the beasts. Yeah, I think with Vigilance we're okay to swing in. I just don't want to waste this mana, so let's go for the Wayward Sawtooth as well. That will allow us to make another land if we need to. We'll give that haste, because that can definitely swing in. Play the Elemental Green Warden. That can have haste. Oh, actually, we should put these in with plus counters, shouldn't we? Because Akroma's Memorial already gives haste. Oh, well. We'll play the Crucible of Worlds. And then Elemental Bond, and that should do us. Like I said, just don't want to waste the mana, because we might not win yet. Okay, so 1 mana floating, we'll just let that burn away. And we'll attempt to get our opponents on combat damage here, although the white player might have another trick up his sleeve. That is 5, and 20, and 35. And then everything else can go in at Billy Kills. Yep, that's worked, I think. So hopefully that'll be the game. Well, they're going for the Core Haven here, because I forgot about that during my my Solitaire run there. It doesn't matter, we're going to deal damage to them with the Valakut Exploration anyway. So we have our beast not deal damage. But managing to get rid of Billy Kills, I think at the end of the turn we're going to have them here anyway. And if not, we can always Valakut them and Omnath them out of play, I think. Yeah, so there we go, dealing 10 damage to them with the Valakut Exploration. That did a hell of a lot of work for us this game. I actually underrated that card when it first came out, and yeah, I've gotten a lot of use out of it across multiple Lands Matter decks. It's a very, very good one, especially if you can get into the late game like we did here. Gets you a lot of card advantage, and it allows you to pile damage onto your opponents as well. So, huge thank you to my opponents for sticking that one out. That was a massive solitaire game, as Omnath Locus of Creation tends to be. That's why I haven't been playing it as much as I might like, because it entails your opponents just kind of sitting there and watching you play, which I don't really like. So apologies for not playing more of it, but I can't have my opponents just sitting and watching me play for hours on end like this. It's not really fair on them, but a big thank you to them for sticking it out anyway. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.